Yes, okay. So yeah, that I was waiting I mean, welcome everybody for this outreach committee meeting. We can move to the next one. So the Confidential Computing Consortium is a community focused on open source licensed projects securing data in use and accelerating the adoption of confidential computing through open collaboration. Everyone is welcome here. We are a transparent, collaborative community. And as members and contributors, we want to make sure that participation in our community is harassment-free for everyone. Let's move on to the next one. We have the antitrust policy. Okay, it didn't update to me, but maybe updated to others, Rian. I see that you moved on. So anyway, yeah, the antitrust policy, I mean, as a Linux Foundation project, we need to comply with their antitrust policy. Of course, that if you have any questions or doubts about that, you can reach out to the Linux Foundation folks at the meeting. Moving on. All right, so the agenda for today, approval of minutes from last meeting, recap for CC Summit. I think we want to spend quite a good amount of time on this. Open call for papers, upcoming events, web presence, an update about the brand repositioning and use case report. And I think that's it, and the budget update, of course. So next one, so do we have quorum?
We're not going to vote on anything, so I don't think we need to do a roll call if I can check for quorum as we go along.
Okay, that's fine. Do we have any new member here that wants to introduce themselves?
Or just new attendees, not even new members, if you'd like.
Yes, sorry, new attendees. Yes, of course.
It looks to me everyone's regular at this point.
Yeah. Okay. So moving on, I think the minutes from the last meeting are approved, right, Rian? We usually approve these async.
Yes, there was no comments or corrections, so if there's no objections, we can resolve the minutes for the previous meeting.
Any last minute objections? All right, so moving on, let's go to the CC Summit recap. Well, I think the idea here is just to everybody to share their ideas, right, Kate? I mean, you can lead on if you want.
Yeah, absolutely. So I thought, there will be a good amount of us who attended at the CC Summit, and maybe we can go around and share what we took away and just key highlights from the event. So for me, from the CCC side, the day zero happy hour went really successfully. We got over the capacity of signups. So I did cap at 10 plus, which is 60 people, and we got 64 people signed up, which is amazing. And of course, we do not check at the door, so I don't know actually how many people came in person, but definitely the room was packed up. We were very close, and a lot of people actually stayed all the way until 8:30 and almost 9. So it was a great to see, and it's the feedback that I'm getting that this is much needed and members appreciate this gathering, and we are indeed the Thai community there. In terms of a conference, I'm sure Miran can cover a little bit more, but this was twice as more attended than last year. So which is, you can see the growth of this conference just kicking off since last year. This year, second year of hosting, we already doubled the attendees, so which is amazing. And the talks were just incredibly great talks. It was really hard, and amazing keynotes, but also breakout sessions were filled with amazing talks. So it was really hard to pick which one to go to. And not only the sessions were amazing, the key highlight for me at least was the networking portion. So the opportunity to meet the people that we already know, but also people that we haven't actually interacted or only interacted through the email or virtually. And meeting them in person and have the one-on-one conversation was very, very valuable. I think that was key highlight for me. And the topics wise for me, it was, of course, the AI was everywhere, but it was more from the evangelizing the computational computing. It was not only that, it was transitioning from evangelizing into now talking about the integration, the usability, how easy of adoption. So those are kind of a growth that I saw from this year's conference. Anyone wants to go next?
Well, I can go. I mean, I definitely enjoyed the conference. I mean, I was not there last year because it was a one-day event, and it's a long trip from Brazil to San Francisco. So this year, today conference was much easier to justify. So I think it's definitely good that we have a bigger conference. It makes it easier for some folks like me to justify, traveling to the conference. I really enjoyed the happy hour, the CCC happy hour. When I just entered, I mean, I entered in the very beginning and we had like 30 people, right? So it was great to see that everybody was really eager to be there. And it was really amazing to meet lots of folks face to face first time, right? So it was really good. The CC Summit itself, I enjoyed the networking most as well, Kate, just like you. As I have a technical background, I missed a little bit the technical sessions. I mean, there were technical sessions. I'm not saying that they were not there, but it was too much focused on AI use cases. And I think computational computing can offer much more than that. So, that's one of the, comments that I would have or feedback that I would have, and that I pass it through to the conference organizers. But yeah, I mean, I think it was a great opportunity to meet everybody in this community and to have a good networking, definitely.
I can go next. Yeah, so as the rookie of the outreach committee, it was really great to meet everyone in person who were able to attend. Yeah, the happy hours was really nice. Brought a couple of my fellow people from AMD, so that definitely took the number above the 60, I'm guessing. On the summit itself, it was really great. It's my first participation, so I really liked all the sessions and also the clarity of the messaging. I think it's seen as well that the use cases are getting more and more tangible. There are obviously as well a couple of, obviously AI is one of the key ones where really I see a lot of alignment there. Yeah, I think maybe just the tracks, I guess. I second the point about it was not easy, and that happens in any conference. To, let's say, if someone wants to have a little bit of more of a use cases / business and a little bit of technical sessions, the tracks were there was a lot of overlap. So we had to, what we did basically, for example, on our companies, that we kind of divide and conquer. So we kind of looked at we had more presence. So there was a couple of people from the company, from AMD, who were attending different sessions so that we gather the feedback. That's how I approach it, but I understand that it's not the case for everyone or every party that participates in that. That's I second that comment. But overall, really great experience. I see that the community is really growing and understanding what like the awareness. I think we passed the awareness part, but now actually, I'm sure we'll talk about that later. Really, we need to take that next step to the use cases, the real life use cases. I think that was what Laura as well presented in her session. So.
Okay, great feedback. Who else was there and what to share?
Hi, this is Rachel. I was there as well. And I love to share my experience. So first of all, I want to thank you, Kate and CCC for hosting the happy hour and co-hosting the Computational Computing Summit. So the discount code was really appreciated because me and my colleagues were able to attend with the discount code that was issued by the CCC. And I really enjoyed how the summit covered both technical aspects and played a strong focus on the business side and market attraction. I agree with what other folks have mentioned regarding the use cases. I love the use cases, and they presented and really a broad spectrum of different market players and really delve into the details of those use cases. And I loved how they demoed some of their features as well. And so that was definitely super valuable. And there were a lot of those great sessions, and I would say only downside is that they were happening at the same time, so I really wish I could have attended them all. And so that's kind of my takeaway from that.
Well, of course, that nothing substitute, attending live the event, but I think all the recordings will be available soon, right? So you
Yeah,
can
that's
catch.
the upside. I'm so glad that there were recordings to capture all those great sessions because it's impossible to attend every single session by yourself, with all the sessions when they are happening at the same time. So I'm so glad that we have recordings that capture all of those so we can always visit back.
Yep, thank you, Rachel.
And Maureen, do you have any kind of you want to share from your side?
Yeah, actually, I love all the feedback. I didn't want to chime in because I was helping to organize, and I just love all this independent feedback. So I didn't want to weigh in first. Anybody else want to go in before I chime in? Okay, I'll go ahead. I absolutely love all this feedback. This is really great. And having the perspective of someone who helped organize this is truly invaluable. Actually, what I'm thinking about from the technical perspective, we had a use case. Obviously, this was a call for papers, and we had like over 100 people. I can't remember the exact amount, but we had like over 100 people submit papers. And there was a use case, research, and an innovation. And I'm wondering if we actually call out a technical one specifically. And I don't know if like the research or the innovation one was meant to be, but maybe we call out specifically a technical one. And I know that there was last year some feedback saying, hey, we don't have enough use cases. So I know that we had specifically pushed for more use cases, but a lot of those fell out in terms of the rating. So we had this program committee, and I don't know if any of you fell into that, but we had people rate it based on these different criteria. And then the selection was really just based off the independent program committee assigning ratings to each of these papers. And that's kind of how it fell out. And a lot of the use cases actually did receive the higher ratings. But I think that we may think about how we assign the allocations across these things, and we purposely may need to allocate a minimum amount for each of these categories, with technical being one of those categories, getting a minimum. So that's a great feedback. In terms of some of the insights that you guys were talking about too, I think along the lines of confidential computing, one of the big themes that I heard was that came across was confidential computing will be just computing, right? And a lot of the use cases that came across as well, the idea of real life use cases, and obviously that was really popular and things like that. But the quality of the keynote speakers and the insights coming from all of that, that just, for me, that was a big takeaway. Is like the quality of the speakers all around were amazing. So yeah. And the recordings, from my understanding, will be out within a couple of weeks. So that's exciting.
That's
Yep.
very good news. Just to highlight, so the pictures, we managed to take some pictures. I didn't take a lot of them, but I know event team also take a bunch of pictures, Maureen. So then would that be available on the website later on?
Not on the website, but I actually do have pictures from the photographer, so I could make those available too.
Yeah, that's great. So just, we had Microsoft delivering the keynote, and we had three breakout sessions. So one is delivered by TikTok, the other one delivered by Samsung, and the third one was delivered by NVIDIA, by Laura. But basically we had these talks throughout, but I know we had lots of member companies also present, so there wasn't really dividing there. We had projects showed up and worked at the booth, and as well as the member companies participating at the booth. So huge thanks to Rian for organizing all of that. And also we had Leo and Sal co-chairing all the breakout sessions there. So thank you so much for allocating your time in between the listening in on other, breakout sessions. I'm sure it was really hard to miss out on other session. And Mike also had this panel, which was recorded and available on the website, but we had a poster session, which Mike was able to speak to a lot of folks, which if you want to share any takeaways from that, Mike, feel free.
Yeah, so I mean, I thought the poster session, it's tricky because we had basically a full panel we wanted to do, which we didn't get, and I understand why. But the posters, there was firstly a huge range of technical versus non-technical, and kind of people just wandering around and seeing. It's just difficult to differentiate a little bit. So I might think about how we would do that differently on another occasion, but it was certainly very useful, and to be able to do that and have people around. I'd also provide some seats because I got very tired from the standing up, but that's just because I'm old, I suppose. But yes, it was good to have that opportunity to do that as well, and had a number of good conversations about that. Thank you.
Very good. Any low light or kind of areas of improvement that you saw that we might, consider for next year, besides the, all the great session happening at the same time, hard to choose. Other than that, any feedback, I think it's helpful for, Moran, obviously from OPIC, but also all of us here as a CCC participating in a big way. We want to kind of hear what you all thought, and if there was any areas of improvement that you saw that you wanted to bring up. And you don't have to bring it up right now. You can separately message me as well. But oh, Mike. Graham Jones.
I've got all my mutes off now.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that the pricing strategy signaled a bit of desperation. So instead of the, hey, get in early, get the best possible price, and then as you get closer to the conference, the price increases, as an incentive to encourage people to sign up early. And it went the opposite way, which is the people who came earlier paid the highest price, and the people who are signing up the day before at the door were paying probably the lowest price. So it didn't.
And I have heard some complaints about that actually.
Yeah.
As well.
One, is it fair to the people who were enthusiastic and signed up early? And two, it does signal a bit of, hey, we need butts and seats, And so I think we might want to rethink next year the pricing strategy to reward early sign up, and just plan out a little bit better about how you want to roll that down if you need to get more attendance. It felt desperate a bit.
Yeah, definitely.
And
Definitely great
just to
feedback.
echo on that, echo on what Mike said, and also from the conference I've attended, I also just a quick observation: the pricing is also a little bit on the higher end, and maybe there's a specific reason of how we came to this price, and but love to understand a little bit more on what would be the best reasonable price for the summit.
Yeah, I think that was the problem in my opinion. The original the regular pricing was too steep for the size of the conference as we want to grow. And I second what Mike said earlier about like I had the same thing, both Mike, on complaints as well internally. It's like how come I paid for this? I was like, do I get a refund? Like, it's okay. It's we're participating as a company, so it was not like an issue, but people kind of like, a little bit annoyed, I have to say. But ultimately, I think the price definitely was Rachel, you're right. You're spot on. I think it's a bit steep. Obviously, I understand there are budgetary considerations to cover the costs, etc. So it'll be good to understand for next year to get the kind of sweet spot for the regular pricings, and then goes up as get closer to the event.
I agree. And in terms of, setting that part would probably be, it would be a great feedback for you, Marin, right? Because CCC was not part of setting that kind of a structure, for example. So this, I'm sure, is a great feedback for you, Marin.
Yeah, thank you so much. No, I appreciate that. This is all great feedback, and this is all everything that we want to hear, good and bad. And this is something that we will definitely take into consideration for next year. So thank you, everybody. I appreciate that.
Cool, thank you. And we'll be talking about how how best for the CCC to be involved going forward as well, because I know we've talked about that in the past. So we'll once we've got our heads back above water, we'll be re-engaging on that. But well done, thank you for organising it, and I had a great time as well. It's great to be a keynote and to be talking about vacuum cleaners for those of you who are there.
Yeah, thank you, Mike, specifically. I know you gave your talks and your poster session, and to Kate and Jen and everybody participating, we really appreciate everyone. And, Ben, we appreciate all your help throughout, and thank you so much leading up to it. And I know we encourage your participation next year, but even everything that you've done leading up to it was already appreciated. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Okay.
All right. So Mike, I think it's your turn now with the your update.
Yeah, well, we kind of talked about this a bit already, right? I'm not sure there's a huge amount more to say about the summit from here. I did the keynote. I got lots of people coming to speak to me just throughout the conference, which was fantastic. One of the things that was particularly interesting to a number of people was this question about how we manage attestation and the business models around that. And I'm going to be kicking something off in the next few weeks about that internally within the CCC. Please look out for that. The other thing, of course, was that I announced the new startup membership options at the conference. Had a number of people get in touch about that already. Got a few people we want to get back to who've been thinking about joining and we now haven't for this sort of reason. I should also say we've had a number of academic institutions and research institutions showing an interest, at least two of which have already signed up, which is not involved with the startup membership options because they're separate. So we are seeing some really good engagement from a variety of areas, which is absolutely fantastic. So there's that. The next thing I want to talk about very briefly is the Pet Summit in Singapore in July, which is next month. I'll be at that. And that is a 2-day summit, if I remember rightly. We are sponsoring that, and it was pretty good last year, and we've had some really good the New York one and the London one, and this is something which has been going very well for us, I think, Kate, right? And we've got a number of members who are going to be involved in the sessions and panels and stuff. But also, if you have colleagues who are based in Singapore or nearby who would like to come, we do, I believe, have some passes we can provide to people. I would love to see you there anyway. Also, I'm considering, going to visit members or, members who have customers in Asia Pac as part of the sort of travel over there. One which option is South Korea. So if you have folks over there, or it would be helpful for me to be meeting people and talking about that, please let me know. Get in touch, and we can talk about that. That would be great. But I'd love
Did
to
you
see
already
any.
connect with Samsung?
No, not explicitly. I've mentioned it briefly to them, but not explicitly as a definite. I know we've got at least one other possible member in South Korea who we're trying to connect with, and yeah, I'd love to hear about more. So that's me. And
All
I'd
right,
also
thank you very much,
just
Mike.
like to say again, thank you to everyone involved with setting it up from the CCC side and elsewhere as well, but particularly Kate and Rian for all the work, and Leo and Sal for all the work they put in. So thank you.
So Pet Summit,
All right.
just Mike mentioned, it's we are filled for the CCC hosted panel, but we have other sessions that we can, leverage your participation as well. So it is available, but if we have to, we can go with the skeleton crew and then try to cover all the sessions. But we do have a great opportunity at Pet Summit, and if your organization sees the value of participating or at least attending at the conference, we, like Mike mentioned, we have extra passes that we can hand out, as well as an opportunity to be part of this speaking engagement as well. So let us know. The other one that is on the list is OSS EU. CCC is hosting Confidential Computing Mini Summit at the conference. So this is going to be a day before the main conference, but it is part of the overall conference. So it'll be up, our agenda and everything will be uploaded on the main event website and promoted through the main event OSS people as well. So feel free to submit your submission there. There is slots for 6 talks that we can accommodate. So keep that in mind. We have a great opportunity here.
All right, thank you, Kate. Yeah, do we have any updates, Jen, for Web Presence?
Hi, everyone. Sure. So you'll see the link at the top for the May analytics, but I'll just point out a few kind of key things here that are worth talking about. For Google Analytics, we crossed the 3,000 mark this last month in users, and then new users, we got 2,200. So I think a lot of the work around all of the conferences you've all been marathoning are definitely having an impact in getting people's interest. That correlates really well with the top web pages. So the webinars are the, other than the landing page, obviously, is the highest number of visitors, the about, member projects, and then the reports. So your community is very, very interested in all of the work you're doing and all the things you're speaking about. So I think that's really great. And on social, our page views on LinkedIn were up 22%. Again, I think a lot of that is due to having a good combination of promoting some of the blog content, Mike, that you've had in the webinars you've been doing at the events, as well as promoting the events itself. And then unique visitors were up 6%. So not, I would like to see that unique visitors cross over 10. So definitely Kate and I are going to get some time here in the next week when I get back from AI Dev and just do a little planning for second half of the year and try to set some good targets and then kind of work backwards to try to make that happen. But you continue to go up every month. So that's really good news. So as you look through that report, if you have other questions, feel free to hit me on email or Slack, and happy to answer any of your questions.
That's really
Okay.
great to hear. And thank you for
Thank you
managing our content calendar and our activities holistically. Thank you so much for supporting all our amplification requests as well.
Absolutely.
Yep, great. Thank you, Jen. Brand repositioning. Abe, do you want to get this one? Okay.
Yeah, sure. So we had the first meeting 2 weeks ago. Next one is tomorrow. I'm preparing the agenda. I'm a little bit behind after the summit, but I'm catching up. I actually dedicating today for that. So one of the key things that came up in the last meeting was that we need participation from more participation from TAC. Obviously outreach already well represented, but still, so I have an email to send to TAC, outreach, as well as the governing board to make sure we all have good representation. The other thing that when I talked to Mike and during the meeting, you can see that on the minutes from the last meeting, is that from the first meeting, I should say, for the kickoff, is that basically we go beyond just the web, the web content of the websites, really the overall messaging. I have some suggestions I'll present. I'm preparing a presentation for tomorrow. So that's where we are today. So yeah, as I said, I'm a little bit behind on that one, but I'm gonna catch up today.
Okay.
Thank you. I talked to Dan real quick. So, when you reach out to TAC, I think, Dan will know what
Okay.
you're bringing up, and he might have another, also a person that he might be kind of suggesting as well. So, you will get a lot of support there.
Excellent. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Abe. Next one
Sorry,
is Kate.
just one.
Oh,
Just one note.
sorry,
So
go
Rian,
ahead.
no, just acknowledging Rian's point about, that's not in the. I think you messaged that, Rian, on the on Slack channel, and so I think between me and Rachel, who offered to help as well, will drive the meeting notes and agenda and so on. So I understand that's not part of the project management, as you mentioned. So.
Okay. Thank you. Next is use case report, Kate.
Yeah, I mean, I have MFJ here as well to speak about, but basically, we got the final status of the use case report, and we had Mike to give a little hint, and Tia for the use case report to come out in the Q3. So at his keynote at CC Summit. So the use case report is going to be, it is finalized. So all the use cases it is finalized, and you're going through, creating the infographic and also final confirmation of the quote from each participating members. But basically these 6 use cases are going to be included in this report. And the projected publish date is mid-July. Depending on all these, the final touch of the infographic creation and the confirmation from the members, which, there are a couple that are left that, hasn't responded to our researcher yet. So that's just kind of chasing down. And so these will determine our or impact our publish date. But this is mid-July is safely what we are looking at this point.
Yeah,
And
Kate, just to add to that, the only thing that's like genuine friction is the quote approvals. And even that, those are honestly, they're courtesy approvals, because often they are requesting permission to reuse quotes in public documents or things that were said on the record during the interviews. So non-response for quote approvals will not stop them from being used. So we're mostly doing those as a as just to be as thorough as possible, and as courteous as possible, but they will not stop it. So this thing is rolling toward completion in mid-July, and don't see anything that'll stop it right now.
Yay. Well done, Mike. Well done, everyone. Well
Yeah,
done.
well done, Mike.
Only took a year. Sorry about that.
Nothing for you to be sorry about. You put a tremendous amount of work here, and I really, really appreciate your involvement
Absolutely.
and your thoroughness there.
Yeah.
But it is
thank you, Mike.
coming, so that's
this is really
exciting.
great. Yeah. And I'm really glad to see that the use cases have a little bit of variety, right? Not only AI, as we are hearing these days.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's move on to the budget update. Who is that? Is it you, Ben?
Yeah, I can speak to this. I'm glad to be back on the project, by the way.
Yeah, welcome back, Ben.
Thank you.
Welcome back.
Yeah, so just a brief update on the budget. I'm getting like resituated with everything, but I think the budget is still on track. I just did a quick edit of this slide to sort of condense the event items just so you can see the totals there. But yeah, so far so good. There's a little bit of buffer left in the overall event budget, which is a good thing to have, right? Because sometimes we encounter expenses we didn't plan for, or sometimes things are slightly more expensive. So that's a pretty good buffer to have. And then everything else is pretty much on track. So yeah, things are looking good. If you did want any more details about specific line items in here, I'm happy to go over that, privately in a one-on-one if you'd like.
And Ben, quick question on the detailed item. So I know you have the detailed breakdown of each item and columns in a separate spreadsheet. Are you still planning on updating that?
Yeah, and Rian has took that over in my absence, and so yeah, that will continue to occur.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very important to have an accurate understanding of where you are in the budget. So yeah, that's kind of table stakes.
Absolutely. And that reflects of actual of last month or?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. We'll take a note.
All
Sorry,
right.
just a quick question on the budget for how do we like when is the planning typically happens for the following year? When does it start? Or I'm just kind of curious.
That's a good question. Pretty much we will get started on planning in late August, like kind of when folks come back. We like to have our budgets approved. If we shoot for October, right? Sometimes it bleeds into November, but early fall is when we want to have those budgets set for 2025.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because of course, sorry, of course the TAC budget and the outreach budget are recommendations which go to the GB to approve. So these are basic recommendations. So there's a bit of a steps of time.
correct.
Yeah.
And
Sorry,
the exercise that we do at outreach is, Leo and I will propose a first initial, and we will go through it with the members here, and we will finalize all those suggestions and present it to the board. So that's how it will be.
Okay. Any other questions on the budget?
No, thanks.
All right. So let's move on to a reminder, right, to send your content for the newsletter.
Yeah, if you have any content or blog post or anything that you would like to include in the newsletter. So newsletter is a public facing newsletter, not only just a member one, but it's also open to everyone who signed up on our website to subscribe to our newsletter. So that's the newsletter that I'm talking about. We do have a monthly cadence that we send out. I collect content from our main rep. The outreach will include outreach portion. Mike will include some of his, and then I'll get some from TAG and some from the SAL as well. But I would love to incorporate a lot of member content as well. So anything that you want to push through the CCC newsletter, feel free to send it to me.
All right. Thank you, Kate. I think that brings us to the end of the agenda. right? I mean, do we have any topics for the next meeting or any other business you want to discuss in this meeting?
I've got one just to think about. I know it feels very early, but please keep an eye out for CFPs and for other events that we might want to be looking at next year. You know, Kate mentioned and Ben mentioned that we like to get the planning in, starting sort of end of August, September. So that means that if there are, the sooner we know about events we might want to attend or we might want to sponsor, the better, because we can put them all into the pot and consider what that means for the budget. So please do think about those. And you know, some CFPs come around super early, like RSA is 6 to 9 months earlier than all of that sort of rubbish. So if there's stuff that you think that we should be doing, in getting involved with, attending, sponsoring, any of that, exhibiting, the sooner we know about it, the better. We keep a list of these things, and it doesn't hurt to get it in early. In fact, it's very positive if we do. So please do that.
Can I make a
Yeah.
suggestion to have a tracker on the Google Drive just so that we can add like just an Excel?
We do indeed have
just,
such a thing. I
okay.
can't remember where exactly.
Yeah,
Hold on,
I will type in it right here, but so what I would like to do is I would like to suggest is to spend a good portion of time to review the upcoming event and actually evaluating our participation so far, because we've been busy, very, very busy. We've been participating in multiple different events in multiple different ways, not only sponsoring, but also, speaking as well. And we really want to get everyone's help to identifying, to going the right conferences, first of all, but spending the right money and the right level. That's important. Like, what is the right level of engagement the CCC should be involved in all of those events? So I would like to spend some time discussing with everyone sometime.
Yeah, and another thing I would say is that a number of you from big companies who have your own events, right? Whether it's Intel or AMD or NVIDIA, you have your own events, and if there's an opportunity for the CCC to be mentioned or to be, on a panel or doing a fireside chat or any of those things, appearing at a booth, would love to hear about it. It's a great opportunity for you to get more visibility of what you're doing, as a CCC rep within your company and with your customers and your ecosystem. And so, I'm always willing to talk about, coming along, appearing, doing a talking head or whatever it may be. I can't get to everything, of course, but let's see what their opportunities are. And as I said, it's good for you, right? Because it shows that the thing you're working on is important and gets visibility. So please always consider that too.
Yep, thank you. Anything else for today? Hey, Mike.
Hey,
You raised your hand.
yeah, a question regarding the attendee list from the CC Summit. Do we have, does the outreach committee get access to that? I'm thinking of continuing to broaden our outreach to interested parties for the newsletter or for our social activities. And I'm wondering
indeed,
if
membership, Mike.
Yeah, all of the above. Here are here's a pool of people that are obviously interested in confidential computing, and do we have the opportunity to reach out to them with some offers of information or participation?
Maureen, do you have some insight into that?
In terms of offers of participation, I'm not sure. I have to think about that. Maybe we could brainstorm offline, Kate,
to whether or not to open the list.
Open the list. Sorry, maybe you could ask me that again.
So the question
Well-
was whether CCC will have access to the
As-
list of
as-
attendees.
Yeah,
Yes.
as co-sponsors, and we're listed as co-sponsors and hosts, and we have pretty big visibility in there. We've done quite a lot of involvement, of course. So I think that's the question.
If only there were a technology that could say, keep the list confidential while other people.
The access to the list, I think of the people who are interested in confidential compute, maybe I'm not understanding. Is it everybody who's interested, or just?
Well, one of so the CC Summit signed up
Yeah.
several hundred people. Some of them are vendors, some of them are just interested parties and participants.
Yeah.
What I was imagining would be, we don't want to just like start bombing them with spam, but we would, it might be fair to say, hey, we would like to get one-time access to the list to be able to send out a sample newsletter with an invitation that if they like what they see, they can subscribe to the CCC newsletter and receive that.
We should be clear that we're not talking about giving this to the individual members. This is about doing CCC related things here, right?
Right. That's what I had in mind.
Yeah.
So it's not this. Yeah, that's what I'm not sure. You would separate out the CCC members.
No, this is
these
can I paraphrase or?
Yeah, please go.
So Mike, I think that's Mike, a great idea for that. Like, so by definition, people who attended, this is not like CES, right? So this is really focused summit, and the people who attended, so participated, all their passes or got it, whatever, they are interested. We know they are interested in computational computing. So the idea here is not individual. It's not me. It's not Mike. It's not Kate. It's really the CCC having access to the opportunity to reach out with obviously it's not a marketing like using that as a list of potential customers or anything, just for the CCC to increase visibility, awareness, and outreach to these, and then should be done in the utmost confidentiality, no pun intended. That's the process. Is my understanding correct, Mike?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Is that it's we are what in this space we are participants in a collective endeavor under the CCC, and as kind of the primary collective body for this technology, to be able to reach out to those interested individuals seems both smart marketing and a pretty fair exchange of value, because we want to raise the tide under everybody.
Okay. I don't want to promise because it's not my decision, but I think that would be something I would love to take back to the team. So yeah. I think that's a fair ask.
And I think it is also fair for the organizers to say use is limited. It's not just to turn it over to the outreach committee, hand out flyers and say, but to say for purposes of this.
Well,
X, Y, and Z is
indeed. That's a conversation we should absolutely have, and I think you're right. This isn't. You're right. This is not a spam list opportunity at all.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think what could happen is the same way that we did it the opposite way, is that we could take that information and send it on behalf of. You know what I mean? The same way we did.
I'm not sure that meets what we're looking for, Miran. Because again, I'm speaking without having talked this through with other folks. So this is me saying this, but we as the CCC lent our name and our brand to this summit, and if we're going to be talking, if we're going to be using the material that for things to do with the CCC, it has to come by the CCC. It has to be our voice I think that's something we'd like to feel very important about. And I said, haven't discussed this. It's probably something we ought to discuss a bit more internally. But this is a conversation I think we probably need to have in more detail. So maybe not. We're not going to have time to fix this here entirely. Maybe we should work out exactly how it's going to work.
Yeah.
So
But
I
Mike,
kind
thank
of
you
have an
very much
idea.
for bringing up.
I kind of have an idea about the logistic, how we can logistically do it in a confidential way, and then only, it does not expose to any of the CCC, but we are able to send that to those people from CCC side. Is Moran, Jen, and I can work on that maybe. Moran, once you get the confirmation from the team that this is okay with that to do so, I think we can figure that out from the back end and leveraging Linux Foundation.
Yeah, I think Kate, maybe we could brainstorm offline, because I know that we had done things that way, kind of the other way around. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I kind of see how this can work out. So I'll follow up with you. Then we can regroup in separate email and then take
Yeah.
it from there.
Yeah,
my
it's not my call to make, so I don't want to make any promises, but I totally hear you. And, we worked very well together offline in the other direction, so I'm sure we could figure something out.
Absolutely.
yeah, so the only point I would is a highlight to that on this is really to try to do it as soon as possible, just kind of before losing momentum. I think the longer it takes it just kind of like it's still fresh in the people who attended the summit.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going to note, I'm going to be off for a couple of weeks on vacation, but I will start to get the ball rolling.
Oh, okay. Can we then get the email started today with Raluca?
Yeah, I'm actually going to talk to her for sure.
Got it. Okay.
All right, folks. Good discussion. Anything else? We have 5 minutes left. Do we have any other topics for today? Well, if not, thank you very much for attending. Talk to you soon.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
All right.
Take care.